Do it. Do it. They chanted. The room was spinning, not from alcohol, but from that awful kind of second-hand embarrassment when you know you've become the moment in someone else's party story. The dare was simple. Kiss the person to your left. My wife blinked at the card like it was written in ancient Greek. Then she crossed her arms. Oh no, I'm not doing that, she said, smirking, like I was a sock puppet, not her husband. That's so middle school. The laughter was instant. Her friends, all wine warm, tiptoeing on the edge of drunk, howled. You're married, for God's sake, someone shouted. And I just sat there, in front of 10 people, lips pursed halfway through a dare that now felt radioactive. My ears were on fire. Not from what she said, but from how quickly she said it. Like I wasn't worth 2 seconds of fun. Like my kiss was the most embarrassing part of her night. Then the voice came from across the coffee table. I'll do it. Heads turned. Even the Bluetooth speaker went quiet. Her friend leaned in. Kendra. Skin-tight leggings. Painted nails. An expression that said I dare you to stop me. Before I could react, she cupped my cheek and kissed me. Slow. Full. Deliberate. The world didn't stop. But the party did. There was this sound. That sharp inhale people make when someone breaks the rules in public. And then, what the hell, Kendra? My wife's voice was shrill enough to shatter the mood like glass. I wasn't going to kiss him. That doesn't mean you get to. She snapped, standing up like a prosecuting attorney mid-trial. I wiped my mouth. I shouldn't have. It made it look worse. Like I enjoyed it. Like I had anything to do with it. Everyone was watching. No one was laughing now. Then Kendra shrugged. Relax, Mads. You passed. I just picked it up. And just like that, I was the punchline. Not Kendra. Not the dare. Me. My wife sat back down, arms crossed, jaw tight. She didn't look at me. She looked at Kendra. And I don't know what passed between them, but it wasn't friendship. That kiss. It wasn't just a joke. It was a shot fired in a war I didn't know had started. And I was the battlefield. I don't remember who picked the next card. I don't remember what the next dare was. All I remember is sitting there, feeling like a ghost in a room full of people who were pretending nothing happened. Madison didn't speak to me for the rest of the night, not even a glance. Her wine glass stayed full, untouched, like she needed both hands to hold back her rage. Kendra? She went right back to laughing and sipping like she hadn't just dropped a grenade on our marriage. She didn't say anything else to me, but I noticed how often she checked her phone after that. At first, I thought she was texting someone. But then it hit me like a punch to the gut. She was waiting. Waiting for Madison's next move. That silence between them? That wasn't the kind of silence that follows a misunderstanding. It was the silence that follows years of unspoken competition. After we left the party, the car ride home was dead quiet. Madison stared out the window like the streetlights were personally offending her. I tried to speak, twice, but both times she cut me off with the kind of dismissive hand wave you'd use on a buzzing mosquito. Finally, just as we were pulling into the driveway, she muttered, "You liked it." That was it. That's all she said before she slammed the door and disappeared into the house. I stood there in the driveway like an idiot, keys still in my hand, wondering how we ended up here. How a dumb dare could carry more weight than our vows. But what she said stayed in my head all night. You liked it. And here's the worst part. I didn't even know if I did. I was too shocked, too frozen, too humiliated to feel anything. But she had already decided. In her mind, I was guilty. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. No note. No message. Just an empty side of the bed and her untouched coffee mug by the sink. So I did what any paranoid, slightly broken husband would do. I checked social media. And that's when I saw it. A photo. Posted just 2 hours earlier. Taken last night. From the party. The caption was innocent enough. Something like, "Wild game night with the besties kiss mark sparkles." But the photo wasn't. It was a group shot. 11 people, arms around each other. All fake smiling like nothing awkward had happened. But in the corner, barely visible, was me. And Kendra. Mid-kiss. Someone had captured the exact moment her lips met mine. My eyes wide open. Her hand on my chest. Madison, in the background, just turning her head toward us. Horror forming on her face. And there it was, out in the world, for anyone to see. Proof. Frozen in pixels. Immortalized in the most humiliating way. I sat there staring at the screen, not breathing. The post already had comments. Laughing emojis. Someone tagged Madison. I refreshed. The photo was gone. Deleted. But not forgotten. Not by me. And clearly, not by whoever posted it. And that's when I got a message, an anonymous DM. Just 4 words. Check your wife's texts. And my stomach dropped. I know I shouldn't have done it. I know how that sounds. Check your wife's texts. Like I was just waiting for an excuse to invade her privacy. But I wasn't. I swear I wasn't. I'd never gone through Madison's phone in the 8 years we'd been together, not once. Even when I had doubts. Even when things felt off. I always told myself I was better than that. But when someone anonymous tells you to check your wife's texts, and a photo of her best friend kissing you has just mysteriously vanished off the internet, something breaks in you. And that something in me was already cracked wide open from the night before. I waited until she got home. She walked in like nothing was wrong. Asked if I wanted takeout. Smiled. It was the kind of smile you give a customer at work. Not a husband. Cold and professional. I asked her how her day was. She said fine. I asked if we were going to talk about the party. She shrugged. Said, what is there to talk about? That was her answer. That was it. So while she was in the shower, humming like everything was perfectly normal, I did it. Her phone was on the nightstand. I picked it up. No lock. She never used a lock around me. I didn't even have to search long. Her messages were clean. Too clean. All recent messages with Kendra had been deleted. Not just cleared, erased. Nothing from the past 2 weeks. But I knew Madison wasn't that neat. She was the kind of person who had texts from old group chats, spam coupons, and shopping lists all jammed together. She hadn't cleared her inbox. She'd wiped one person. That's when I checked her photo gallery. Hidden folder. 6 images. All from the party. Group selfies, wine toasts, blurry shots of that awful spin-the-bottle board. And one of just Kendra. Kendra in the mirror, taking a selfie in Madison's bathroom, wearing Madison's necklace. The one I gave her for our 5th anniversary. The one she swore she never took off. I stared at that photo for what felt like an hour. Not because of the necklace. Not because of the angle. But because of the reflection. In the mirror, behind Kendra's shoulder, was our bedroom. And on the bed, my hoodie. Folded. Neatly. That hoodie hadn't left my dresser in months. I don't even know why it was there. Unless that photo wasn't from the party at all. Unless it was taken on a different night. A private night. The pit in my stomach grew heavier. I opened her recently deleted folder, hands shaking. And that's where I found the thread. Screenshots. 3 of them. Messages. Kendra's name at the top. No emojis. No hearts. Just cold, blunt text. Kendra. You said he wouldn't react. Madison, he didn't. That's the sad part. Kendra. Still want to go through with it? Madison, yeah. The kiss was the test. He failed. Kendra. So I'm in. Madison. You know where the spare key is. I dropped the phone. Literally dropped it onto the carpet like it burned me. Was this real? Was I part of some test? Some sick game? And what the hell did I'm in mean? In that moment, I didn't know what scared me more. That Madison had set me up to fail some twisted loyalty challenge, or that her best friend already had access to our house. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I laid in bed next to her while she scrolled through TikTok and giggled at dog videos. I just stared at the ceiling, wondering what else I wasn't supposed to see. But I wasn't done digging. Not yet. Because the next day, I found the security cam footage I forgot we had. The one in the garage. And that's when everything fell apart. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there motionless, eyes fixed on the ceiling, listening to Madison's soft breathing next to me, trying to remember if there had ever been a time she looked at me with real warmth. Not convenience. Not obligation. But love. I couldn't find one. My mind kept looping that message. So I'm in. You know where the spare key is. At 4:13 a.m., I got out of bed. Quietly. I didn't want to wake her. Not yet. Not until I had more than texts. Not until I had something undeniable. That's when I remembered the side door camera. We installed it a year ago after someone broke into our neighbor's car. I set it up myself, motion activated, hooked into a cloud account I paid for yearly and forgot existed. Madison never asked about it, never once mentioned it, probably assumed it stopped working because I never brought it up again. She had no idea I could still access it. I logged in using my laptop in the kitchen, one ear turned toward the hallway in case she woke up. I opened the camera log, scrolled past months of nothing but squirrels, delivery drivers, and me pulling in and out of the driveway. Then I found it. Tuesday night, 9:42 p.m. She told me she had yoga. A new instructor. They don't allow phones inside, she said, which explained why she hadn't replied to my good night text until after 11. I remember that night specifically because I'd picked up Thai takeout and eaten it alone on the porch, wondering why I still felt so lonely in my own marriage. I clicked the clip. Motion detected. The side door swings open. And there she is, Kendra, wearing gym shorts and a hoodie. My hoodie again, stepping into our home like she's done it 1,000 times. No hesitation. No pause. She carries a tote bag and disappears down the hallway like she knows the layout. Timestamp, 9:43 p.m. I check the next clip. 10:02 p.m. Motion again. The door opens, just slightly. Kendra leans her head out, says something quietly, and then someone else walks in. I paused, stared, rewound, played again. It wasn't Madison. It was a guy. I didn't recognize him at first. Tall, ball cap, light hoodie pulled up, walked with the casual, cocky body language of someone who felt invited, not sneaky. I zoomed in on the frame. There, on his wrist, a tattoo. Black ink, Roman numerals. And then it hit me. A memory. From one of those annoying Instagram reels Madison kept forwarding me months ago. Look what Kendra just posted. This guy's always in her comments. I remember because she showed me the tattoo. It's tacky, she said. Now he was in my house. 10:57 p.m. They leave. Kendra exits first. Laughing. He follows. Light kiss on her cheek at the door. She swats him on the chest playfully and shuts the door behind them. The same door she had a key to. The same night my wife was supposedly at yoga. The same hoodie I found in that selfie Madison never meant for me to see. And yet, the house had been spotless when I got home the next day. Nothing out of place. Not a single clue. I sat there staring at the screen, not even blinking, feeling this crushing weight settle in my chest. But it wasn't just betrayal. It was the planning that gutted me. They had routines, codes, rules. I didn't just get cheated on. I got written out of the script. I went to bed just as the sun was coming up. Madison was still sleeping, curled up on her side, peaceful, like the world hadn't shifted under my feet. I laid there next to her, and I finally asked myself a question I'd been avoiding for months. Why was I the only one trying to stay married? And in the silence, I realized something even darker. I wasn't supposed to find out. I wasn't meant to be here this long. I didn't go to work the next day. I couldn't. I called in sick, voice shaky, half expecting them to call me out on it. They didn't. I guess even my boss could hear something was off. But how do you explain you're not sick in the body, just unraveling quietly in your own home, hiding in plain sight next to someone who still kisses your forehead in the morning like nothing's wrong? Madison was already gone when I got out of bed. Her side of the bed cold, her perfume lingering in the bathroom air like a ghost that didn't know it was haunting me. She'd left a note on the fridge, scrawled in her handwriting. Going to brunch with Kendra. Don't wait up. Might shop after 2 hearts. The handwriting made my skin crawl. I don't know why. Maybe because it looked so casual, so normal, like it belonged in a movie where the main character never finds out what's happening behind the curtain. But I had seen it. I'd watched the footage. I'd read the messages. I just hadn't said anything. Not yet. I sat on the porch with a mug of cold coffee for an hour, not drinking it, just watching cars pass. Then I did something I didn't expect. I messaged Riley. Now, Riley isn't my friend. He's one of Madison's guy friends from her last job. Graphic designer. Quiet. Always gave me a strange vibe. Not creepy, just distant. Like he knew something about our marriage that I didn't. We hadn't talked in over a year, but I remembered him once saying during a game night, the truth always finds its way out. Usually through someone too tired to keep the lie going. Back then I thought he was being philosophical. Now I wondered if he was warning me. So I sent him a simple message. Riley, I know something's going on. Don't lie to me. I just need to know if you ever saw anything between Madison and Kendra or anyone else. I didn't expect a reply, but 10 minutes later, he sent back a single sentence. You need to check the shared album from New Year's Eve. I stared at that message. Heart thudding. Shared album. Then I remembered. We had a cloud album set up with a few of Madison's friends. For big events. Parties. Vacations. I never checked it. Ever. Madison always curated the best photos for her socials anyway, so I figured I'd seen everything worth seeing. I opened the album, scrolled past blurry fireworks shots, drunk selfies, sparklers, a countdown video, and then, right near the end, a 5-second clip I didn't recognize. No caption, no tags, just dim lighting and 2 people on the couch. The video was taken in secret. From behind a curtain, it looked like. The audio was muffled, but I could still hear it. Madison's voice. He's so predictable. It's like, sad, honestly. Then laughter. Not hers. Kendra's. And the camera shifted, just slightly, to show the backs of their heads. They were leaning in close. Too close. Kendra whispered something I couldn't make out. Madison laughed again and said, "We'll see how he handles part 2. Then the video cut off. I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity. There were people in the background. Music playing. It had all happened in the open, and no one noticed. Or maybe they did. Maybe someone did notice, and saved this clip without ever saying a word. Maybe Riley knew, but didn't know how to tell me. Or maybe this wasn't the first test they'd run on me. Maybe this had been going on for longer than I thought. That's when I noticed the clip had been added by a user named mdesign_23, Madison's old login for her digital portfolio. She had uploaded it herself. Whether by accident or arrogance, I didn't know. But she put that file there. She left it for someone to find. And now I had it. A saved video. A confession. A friend who warned me. A fake yoga night. And a secret key. I wasn't just being cheated on. I was being studied. I wasn't planning to go. Honestly, I thought I'd sit with this information for a few more days, let it rot in me, maybe even convince myself that I misunderstood everything. But something about that clip, Madison's voice, the casual cruelty of it, flipped a switch I didn't know I had. There's a special kind of heartbreak when someone doesn't just betray you in secret, but jokes about it, plans it, and records it like it's just another win in a long-running game. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I just got in my car and drove straight to the one brunch place she always picked, Maple and Grain. She loved their strawberry oat waffles and the way the sunlight came through the big front windows. We'd eaten there dozens of times, back when things felt normal, if they ever were normal. I parked across the street and waited. And there they were, Kendra and Madison, sitting side by side at a small table near the window. 2 mimosas, 2 laughing faces, and 1 shared phone screen between them. Probably going through photos or posts, or whatever shallow content they used to distract themselves. From guilt, from boredom, from me. I watched them for maybe 3 minutes. Then I got out of the car and walked in. The bell above the door jingled like it was mocking me. Madison didn't even look up at first. It was Kendra who noticed me, her face going pale in a way that made me wonder what part of this game she thought was still hidden. "Hey," I said, calm but flat, like I was speaking from behind a glass wall. "Mind if I join?" Madison blinked at me, startled. "Nathan? What are you?" "I saw the video," I said. That shut her up fast. Her mouth stayed open, but nothing came out. Kendra stiffened, reaching for her purse like she might vanish into it. I pulled my phone from my pocket and laid it on the table, screen up. No need to press play. They both knew what I was talking about. Madison cleared her throat, straightened her posture, and tried that slow, practiced smirk she used when dealing with customer service. "What video?" I tilted my head. "The one where you say I'm predictable, and then giggle about part 2. Kendra stood up. "I should go." "You're staying," I said, sharper than I intended. She froze, eyes flicking to Madison like a guilty child caught next to the broken vase. Madison's eyes narrowed. "How did you even find that?" That's when I knew. She meant for it to be hidden. She never thought I'd think to look. Never thought Riley would send me there. Never expected I'd stop playing the fool. "You uploaded it yourself?" I said quietly. "It was under your design profile." Madison's smirk cracked for half a second. Just enough to show fear. Just enough to let me know this went deeper than I thought. "You were testing me," I said. "But for what? To see if I'd explode? To see if I'd cheat? To justify something?" Kendra finally sat back down, muttering, "It wasn't supposed to go this far." That line hit me harder than anything else. Wasn't supposed to go this far. So it was real. There was a plan. I hadn't imagined it. "You said he wouldn't react," I repeated, quoting her exact words from the message. Madison looked down. Her voice, when it came, was so small it barely felt like her. "You just stopped being who I wanted. And I didn't know how to end it without making myself the bad guy. You brought someone into our house," I said, keeping my tone steady only because we were in public. "You let Kendra play puppet master while you pretended it wasn't happening. You used me like a lab rat and blamed me when I didn't dance the way you wanted." Her lips parted like she was going to defend herself, but then something changed. Her expression flattened. She leaned forward slowly and said, almost whispering, "You think this started with the kiss?" And there it was. I felt the air leave my lungs. It didn't. Kendra reached into her purse. Madison. But Madison held up her hand. No. He wants the truth, right? My heart thudded. She leaned in closer. The night I told you I was in Dallas for a work conference last February? I wasn't in Dallas. I was in town. With him. She pointed at Kendra, then added, and her friend Caleb. I felt dizzy. I didn't know the name. I didn't want to. My hands clenched under the table. Madison went on, calm now, like she was lifting a weight she'd been carrying for too long. We thought if we gave you one last chance to fight for me, maybe you'd finally do something. But you didn't. You froze. Just like always. I stood up, slowly. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't throw the phone. I just said, I did fight for you. Every single day you weren't watching. And I walked out. But I didn't go home. I drove to the last person who ever warned me about Madison. Her sister. Because 3 years ago, after our wedding, she pulled me aside and said something I never understood until now. If Madison ever starts setting traps, don't step over them. Walk away, or she'll keep laying more. I hadn't seen Madison's sister in almost a year. Her name is Drew, short for Drusilla, but she'd punch you if you called her that. And she was always the blunt one in the family. Even at our wedding, while everyone was complimenting Madison's dress and fake laughing through the speeches, Drew just stood in the back with her arms crossed, watching. Not angry, just observant. I remember her hugging me afterward and whispering, "You're brave." Or stupid. Maybe both. Back then I thought she was just being sarcastic. Now I wasn't so sure. She lived in a small town about an hour outside the city, in a fixer-upper house with a crooked mailbox and an overgrown rosemary bush that smelled weirdly comforting. When she opened the door and saw me standing there, she didn't say hi. She just tilted her head and asked, "How bad is it?" I didn't even know how to answer that. She let me in, poured me a drink without asking. Then she sat on the arm of her couch and said, "Okay, what did she do now?" I told her everything. The party, the kiss, the deleted messages, the camera footage, the fake yoga night, the brunch, Caleb, the secret key, the video clip Riley helped me find. All of it. I didn't cry, but my voice cracked more than once. I was exhausted, not just from lack of sleep, but from carrying something that heavy alone. Drew didn't interrupt. She didn't act shocked. She just listened, tapping her fingers on her knee, like she was connecting dots I couldn't see yet. When I finally finished, she leaned forward and said something I didn't expect. She did the same thing to Logan. My stomach twisted. Who's Logan? High school boyfriend. Sweet guy? Quiet. Kind of like you. She dated him junior year. Then suddenly dropped him out of nowhere. Said he cheated. Even showed everyone a note he wrote confessing. He swore it was fake. Was it? Drew nodded. Yeah. I found it in her drawer years later. She forged the whole thing. She wanted out of the relationship, but instead of breaking it off, she set him up so no one would blame her. I didn't know what to say. I thought I'd reached the bottom of the well with Madison. Apparently, I hadn't even hit halfway. Drew got up and disappeared into another room. When she returned, she was carrying a small black notebook and a metal key. "I wasn't sure if I should ever show you this," she said. "But I think you've earned it." The key was for a fireproof safe box. Apparently, when their mom passed away, she left Drew some personal items, letters, photos, old keepsakes, including a notebook Madison had filled in college. A sort of private diary. Not the emotional kind. The calculated kind. Pages and pages of plans, ideas, scenarios. Some were harmless. How to convince Professor Evans to raise my grade. But others were dark. One entry was titled, "Exit Strategies. If I ever need to leave Nathan." It was written before we were even married. I read it in silence. Wait until he emotionally checks out. Then flip the script. Make him think it's his idea. Use friends to reinforce version of events. If he doesn't react equals leverage it. Use guilt. Kendra, always down for a scene if needed. I stopped reading. I felt like I'd been punched in the throat. All this time, I thought we'd grown apart naturally, that things had decayed slowly. But she had been plotting an off-ramp before she even committed to me. She never wanted a partner. She wanted an audience. Drew sat beside me and said, "Look, I love her. She's my sister. But Madison only respects power. If you try to win her back, she'll just keep testing you. If you go nuclear, she'll cry victim and make you the villain." "So what do?" I asked, feeling smaller than I ever had. Drew smiled. Not cruelly, but like she'd been waiting for me to ask that. You disappear. Quietly. Smartly. You make your move before she makes hers. Leave nothing. No trail. No contact. When she realizes she's not holding the leash anymore, it'll unravel her faster than any confrontation ever could. It was the first time in weeks that something inside me didn't feel powerless. I left with the notebook. I didn't tell Madison I was staying at a hotel. I didn't answer her calls. That night, I sat in the dark flipping through old texts on my phone. Her promises. Her apologies. Her I love yous. I deleted them all. And then I started drafting an email to our landlord. The lease was in my name. And Madison didn't know I'd taken a photo of her text to Kendra. The one with the key instructions and the invitation for someone else to enter my home. By the time I finished writing, I had one sentence left to type. I am formally terminating the lease and revoking access to the property effective immediately. The spare key has been compromised. I hit send, and for the first time in months, I slept. Madison came home 2 days later. She hadn't texted that morning, hadn't called. Maybe she thought the silence was me sulking, or pouting, or waiting to grovel after brunch. She didn't know I'd moved out. She didn't know I'd revoked access to the house. But she found out the moment her key didn't turn. The lock was changed. The porch light was on, and taped to the inside of the glass door was a plain white envelope with her name on it. I wasn't there to see her reaction. I didn't need to be. I already knew how it would go. Confusion, followed by irritation, followed by that sharp wave of anger when someone like Madison realizes they've lost control of the narrative. She didn't get a dramatic goodbye. No screaming match. No how could you moment. Just the letter. Inside it, I left only what needed to be said. Madison, I found the messages. The video. The footage. I know about the key. I know about Caleb. I'm not angry anymore. Just done. You built a maze and waited for me to trip over it. I walked out instead. No more tests. No more pretending. I've terminated the lease. The landlord has your contact for removal of your belongings. I hope you find whatever you were trying to prove. N. I sent a copy to her email too, in case she tried to claim she never got it. Then I turned my phone off for 2 weeks. No texts. No social media. No calls. Instead, I drove south. Took time off work. Slept in strange hotels. Ate breakfast at odd hours. I hiked alone. Sat by rivers. Talked to strangers who didn't know my name, didn't ask about my past. I rediscovered the quiet version of myself. The one who used to believe in loyalty. The one who didn't need to be tested like a lab rat to prove he loved someone. It was a Wednesday morning, on a coastal trail near Savannah, when I got the call from Drew. She's panicking, she said calmly. Apparently, you disappeared. I smiled for the first time in days. Good. Drew laughed. She's been asking if I've seen you. I told her you're finally taking care of yourself. She didn't know what to say. We talked for another hour, about life, not Madison. And when we hung up, I realized something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because I'd won. There was no scoreboard here. Just escape. I didn't need to prove myself anymore. I didn't need to react to someone else's version of me. By the end of the month, I had signed a short-term lease on a small apartment in Asheville. It's nothing fancy, 1 bedroom, a weird slanted ceiling, and a view of the parking lot. But it's mine. I even started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. Turns out when your mind isn't wrapped in chaos, your hands remember how to do beautiful things. And as for Madison, she tried texting once. Are you really going to throw everything away without a real conversation? I didn't reply, because that was the real conversation. She just didn't like how quiet it was.